chat as well. And with that, I will hand it over to Rosemary.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us at 1 Million Cups Fairfax County. It's lovely to see everybody this Wednesday morning. Appreciate you spending your time with us. Next slide, please. We are the community of 1 Million Cups in Fairfax County. You can see from our happy faces and shiny fingers that we were all excited to be here. I believe that was last week, but we actually are here every week at Wednesday, 9 a.m. Eastern, to help our local business community with their business challenges. Next slide, please. If you can, with your iPhone, Android, or other mobile operating system unit, please check in with the 1 Million Cups app. It helps us to stay connected with the Kauffman Foundation, which supports the 1 Million Cups communities across the country. And it lets us know that we're doing a good job getting a lot of folks the help they need in our local community. Next slide, please. Here at 1 Million Cups, we are a community of entrepreneurs helping entrepreneurs. And we do that through basically a peer group mastermind kind of approach to helping us all lift up our business community, whether you're actually here in Fairfax County or around the country, such as David and Jody, who are joining us today. Next slide, please. As you can read, the mission of 1 Million Cups is to lower the barrier of access to education resources and connection for all types of new and aspiring entrepreneurs through the United States. I will also add to that 1 Million Cups gives those of us in each of the individual communities, of which there are 160 across the United States, the opportunity to take our experiences into our community and help others learn from those experiences. So it's really a two-way street. And that's why a lot of us come every single week. Next slide, please. We are a community, and because we are a community, we do have an approach to the way we interact with each other. We support presentations. This is not a pitch competition. We're not here to network. We're here to make authentic connections, and that's why many of us have been coming for 4.5 years since we started the Fairfax County community. Believe it or not, for those 4.5 years, it is almost 4.5 years. And we are run by volunteers for the community and by the community. So I want to thank the community for showing up this morning. And next slide, please. We'll talk a little bit more about the community. Before we got started on Facebook, we talked a little bit about our approach to these specific meetings. We are a safe and supportive environment. We are here to help David in his entrepreneurial journey. We are co-owned by everybody you see in your gallery box on the right side of the slides. We believe in radical and intentional inclusivity for all of our participants. And that means that we support your input and that we look forward to it being educational, supportive, and coming from a place of love and kindness. I mentioned we're volunteer-led. We'll talk about our organizers and ambassadors in a moment. But because we love our group so much and we're all volunteers, it helps to fuel our pipeline as a community. Next slide, please. And for our community, because we live in the 21st century, there's all kinds of technologies that help us stay connected to each other and to the wider world. If you haven't already done so, please follow us across the social media spectrum. You can log on to the 1 Million Cups app and sign up for our weekly emails. You can also watch us Facebook Live. You can watch previous presentations as well, Facebook Live. And here in our interactive session today, please make sure that you provide feedback to our presenter and attend each week because we'd love to see you. Next slide, please. As I mentioned, we exist across the spectrum of social media, more or less. So here's the tags. And if you want to screenshot this page, or if you want the information, we'll get it into the chat for you. But do follow us. It helps us get the message out. So next slide, please. We are run by an organizing committee of volunteers, of which I am proud to say I am a member. In addition to that, Jen Dalton, who is also here with us, and John Yu and Tess Rollins and Leslie Arkelian are also with us. We don't have a couple of our organizers today, but this is why we have so many organizers, so that we can bring to you a fantastic use of your morning hour. And I'll just say, we'll talk about this a little bit later. If you would like to join us as an organizer, let us know. Next slide, please. In addition to organizers, we also have brand ambassadors who do a phenomenal job of helping us find presenters that would love to share their challenge with us so that they can really stoke up their business. And I know we have a couple with us today. Reggie, I saw you join us. Do you want to take a moment? Tell us a little bit about your company. If you're not ready, I can do John Foster first.
Hey,
John
good morning.
Foster.
Absolutely. Good morning, everybody. Great to be here. I am an ambassador for Green Fair Health and Wellness, and just have to say this is the middle of the week, and it is a great way to finish off get started the second half of the week. So it is a thrill to be here and to have the opportunity to participate in learning about new businesses and helping businesses. So it is a thrill to be here, and happy Wednesday.
Thank you, John. Gresham.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Gresham Harkless. I have a company called Blue 16 Media, focused on web design and SEO. I've had the privilege of presenting a few times, 3 times, I think, to 1 Million Cups, and it's been a huge help to different ideas, thinking about making pivots and changes. And I can't speak enough around being able to kind of go farther by pulling into the expertise and knowledge of so many other people. So happy to be here, and appreciate everybody for the time.
Thank you, Gresh. Reggie, do we have you?
Yes, I'm available. I had to hold the baby for a second. I'm Reggie Holmes, Enthused Creatives. Glad to be here and be an ambassador for the past several months, and I love being a part of this community, hearing about great ideas and really smart people doing amazing things. So thank you.
Thank you, Reggie. Hello, baby. Hello, baby Holmes. And I want to welcome all of our guests today who are joining us for the first time, or maybe come on a as you can make it basis. Thank you for joining with us. Next slide, please. Okay, every week, actually every month, we have 2 sponsors. One is our space sponsor. When we are together in person, we have enjoyed our time at Office Evolution. John Yu, if you want to take a moment and talk about Office Evolution.
Sure, Rosemary. I'm John Yu. I'm with Office Evolution. We are a co-working space located right here in Tyson's Corner. We've been partnering with 1 Million Cups for the past 3 years, and we love entrepreneurship, and we love small business owners. They're really the backbone of our economy, and so we provide lots of flexible office space as well as a virtual space like business address, meeting room space on demand basis. So if you're in the area, feel free to drop by. John Yu with Office Evolution.
Thank you, John. And we also have a coffee sponsor every month. Now, when we're in person, the coffee sponsor brings or pays for coffee for all the people who are attending. As we are virtual, a coffee sponsor just gets a 30-second spotlight. Through the Association for Enterprise Growth, is the August coffee sponsor. But if you are interested in sponsoring, please let us know in the chat, and you too can be the coffee sponsor for 1 Million Cups Fairfax. So let me take a moment to talk about AEG. we are building a nationwide ecosystem of professional service providers who are highly successful and highly vetted by us, that serve mid-market CEOs, and we are also building communities for those mid-market CEOs as well. We currently have communities in the DC area, in Baltimore, and David. Next month, we are starting work in Tampa to open our third city of communities. We fully expect to be in multiple cities over the next couple of years. So if you are a professional service provider across the full spectrum of what that means, we actually have denoted over 80 different disciplines within that broad category of professional services. And you support mid-market CEOs and companies, do reach out to me. I put my contact information in the chat. And I think we're ready for the next slide. Okay, so for our returning attendees, you know how our meetings work. For our guests and new attendees, please everyone keep your microphones on mute. Once we hear David's presentation and he asks his challenge question, our moderator, who today is Jen Dalton, will then wrangle the cats that are in the room today and make sure everybody who would like to contribute can do so in an orderly fashion. To do that, please use the hand wave icon or actually physically raise your hand. We'll see you. Also, if you're a little shy and you put your information in chat, you will be picked on in order to say it out loud for the recording. David, for you, you will get a copy of the recording and the transcription of the chat. So we very much encourage you to go ahead, listen, and get as much feedback as you can. And with that, I will happily turn over the microphone to David.
Thank you, Rosemary. Let me share my screen right after this. 1 second. Can I take over the screen, Jen? Is that okay?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Okay.
I'll put the challenge question in chat for folks.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you all so much for your time today. I actually, for those of you who don't know, I presented at the Fairfax 1 Million Cups in 2019 when the world was so much of a different place than today. In 2019, I traveled to about 15 different 1 Million Cups and actually presented in person. And you know, fast forward to 2022, the pandemic has kind of changed the narrative for small businesses. Starting a small business still sucks, and it's still extremely hard, as all of you on the call will attest as small business owners and champions for entrepreneurship. So today I'm going to tell you, just give you like an update since we first started, where are we today, and what have we learned in the last 3 years of running this business. Really, it's the lessons learned that matter ultimately, right? It's a process and a journey of how we went about building this company. And so this is more of an update. The first update, as you will see, is that we've actually rebranded. And so today we're called Economic Impact Catalyst. And that was through our lessons learned. So when we first started, we were called Startup Space. So if you've seen me present at other 1 Million Cups or the one in Fairfax in 2019, we were called Startup Space. The premise is still the same. The messaging has kind of evolved to better meet our audience. So a little bit about our mission. Our focus is entrepreneurship. How can we create a world where there's equitable access to entrepreneurship? And all of these words are very intentional. The reason why entrepreneurship needs to be equitable is looking at people like me, who, you know, an immigrant founder coming from another country, looking to start a business. In my very first business, I hit so many stumbling blocks. So when I came back to start a business, I wanted to focus on two things. How do you make entrepreneurship equitable? But how do you also focus on wealth creation? As in, how do you help people start businesses that ultimately will help them break generational poverty, not just going from business to business, right? And in a lot of cases, wealth creation, you have to think about things like, you know, access to commercial retail space versus just leasing. Thinking about how do you create long-term wealth versus just working in your business. So very broadly, that's our mission. How do we do it? So we work with anybody that supports entrepreneurship, and they all look very different. When I go through our client list, you'll see, but this could be anybody from a community like you, which for me, you all do the hardest work and deserve the highest praise, in that you're a community that is helping foster entrepreneurship. But the mandate and the funding lies with nonprofit organizations, with philanthropy like Kaufman, with economic development agencies. And so they have the mandate and the funding to support small business development. And so how we do it is by giving them tools. And I've got 4 different tools here. So helping them build community, helping them measure impact, helping them with strategy, and giving them the tools to be able to do the work. And we'll go a little bit in depth into the actual work and what products look like in a second. But broadly, those are framework. So helping economic development agencies or anybody that support entrepreneurship create community, help them measure impact, help them with strategy. In a lot of cases, the lifespan of an economic developer is about 2 years in a region. So to give you a sense of that, we have about 80 clients. Every one of those clients has turned over in the 3 years we've been working with them. So we still have those clients, but the executive director is different in every one of those 80 communities. So there's a lot of churn in this space. So we kind of become the holders of the truth and become the system of record for our clients. So we help them a lot with strategy, and we give them the tools. Coming into economic development and nonprofit-led entrepreneurship, what we found is that unlike corporate America that I worked in, so I worked in at Nielsen for about 7 years, they didn't have real-time dashboards. They didn't have program tools. What we were so used to in corporate America, right? Like I would wake up, I'd have a dashboard that has green, yellow, red. Green, you ignore; yellow, you're working on; red, you're calling the firefighters. I lived that life for 7 years. And then I came to nonprofit and they said, well, don't talk to me for the next 8 weeks. I have impact reports to write. And I was like, well, then how do you actually know the analytics to improve your programming if you're doing this once a year and you're using point-in-time data, right? So thinking about bringing in the sophistication that technology affords us. And if it weren't for the pandemic, economic development would still be a lot behind corporate America. But the pandemic kind of forced them to ask themselves, what tools do we have to better support entrepreneurs? And so I'll talk a little bit more about our approach and our impact during the Q&A. And there's lots of words here, so I'll send this deck after this call. But we have 2 core solutions. We have Startup Space, which is still our platform that connects over 30,000 small businesses across the US on a yearly basis, supports over 100 communities, help those communities provide entrepreneurship support. And I'll talk a little bit about the platform itself during the Q&A. The second solution we have is market research, helping our clients understand the entrepreneurs they serve. So helping them understand their clients, why do people come to them for programming? What needs do they have? And in a lot of cases, our clients, are asking what technical assistance can we provide them? What are their biggest challenges? And those challenges vary by rural versus urban. They vary by small versus micro. They vary by the diversity of the communities you serve in. So it's not a one size fits all. So we help our clients understand the community they serve and the needs they have. So a little bit about our clients. Like I said, we operate in over 100 communities in the US today. If you look at this is the who's who of any economic development across the country. So we work with Invest Atlanta, we work with Michigan Economic Development Corporation, we work in St. Louis with Tech STL, in Toledo, in Virginia, we work with Rice Collaborative, which is in South Boston. We're in 38 different states. Our goal is to get to all 50 states by the end of this year. We're bringing on Alaska, we're bringing on Washington State. So yeah, we don't have DC. So if anybody's on the call that has connections in DC, we would love to bring DC on as well. A little bit about our team. We have about 17 full-time employees, about 10 contractors, so about 27 people. This is our leadership team. All of them have been with us, except one from our very beginning. And we started in 2018. And today we are profitable and we are a multi-million-dollar company. What is our big, hairy, audacious goal? To be the #1 solution for entrepreneurship led economic development. by 2025. And the way we measure this is by the number of cities using our solution. So trying to keep it really simple, not tied to a financial target or tied to the number of entrepreneurs, but how many cities find this to be a useful solution. So I will pause here for the ask. I promise to keep this under 7 minutes. So I would love to actually make this into a discussion. And I'm happy to share a little bit about my story, happy to share about what did we learn along the way, and how do our products work, etc. But thank you all for giving me this opportunity to share with you today.
Thank you, David. Let's give David a round of applause. We appreciate you sharing all of that. Just as a reminder, the challenge question is up on the screen. And the good thing about virtual is we can have presenters from everywhere. So David assures us he's from the best city in the US, that tied with DC, but Tampa. And so welcome, we're glad to have you this morning. We will turn it over to Q&A. So if you have questions, please put them in chat, or you can raise your hand via Zoom, and then I'll try to keep everybody in order and call on people in the right place. I'll kick us off with a question. David, who's your ideal client? What are the challenges they're facing, and what's a perfect match for you?
Yes, the perfect match for us is somebody who has the funding and the mandate to support entrepreneurship-led economic development. And the reason it's so specific is because a lot of people support entrepreneurship. A lot of them don't have the funding. In some cases, they have the funding, but don't have the mandate, right? And when I say mandate, they're not the convener of the local ecosystem. And so for us, the ideal candidate is somebody that, and the reason why it's not a specific person is they look very different in every city. The person that has the funding and the mandate is different city to city. And so we spend a lot of time doing outreach in every city to understand who really cares about entrepreneurship and has the money to support this. In some cases, it's philanthropy-led. Kaufman, Knight, Bush, Gates, Kellogg, we work with all of them. In some cases, it's led through ARPA funding. So there's COVID funding, there's ARPA, EDA, infrastructure grants, etc. In some cases, it's the local community foundation. We're coming together and saying, we need to do a better job of supporting entrepreneurship. So they look very different. Ultimately, we know they're a client when they have the funding and the mandate, and they have usually they will start by saying, we've been looking for you for all these years. We know that's a really good sign that there's somebody that's trying to solve this problem.
Excellent. Questions from folks in the meeting? Please feel free to raise your hand and drop a question in chat. I know you're all percolating out there.
Well, can I say a quick story while we're waiting for questions? It's a really short story. It's our origin story. So I was presenting at 1 Million Cups in Denver. And that's why I was saying Denver is such an entrepreneurial city. So I was presenting at 1 Million Cups in Denver on October 17th, 2018. It was 3 months after I quit my job. And I was telling them about this idea that I had to support entrepreneurs. Then it was a B2C platform. And somebody in the back of the room said, hey, there is this economic development agency down the street. You should talk to them because they've been telling us this whole time about needing a platform to support entrepreneurs. So I walked down there. It's a couple blocks down. And I walk into this space. There's somebody at the front desk. She says, how can I help you? I said, I'm here for the economic development folks. She says, I'll help you, take you there. She takes me upstairs. This is 2018. I present to them and she said, and the economic development folks say, well, we're the government. We don't do mobile apps. In 2022, there's not a single government that will say that. But in 2018, they were like, we're the government. We don't do mobile apps. So as I'm walking down, the person who took me there, she says, what do you do? And I told her this and she said, oh my God, we've been looking for you for all these years. What does this cost to white label it? Nobody had ever asked me that question. I said, $100 a month. She said, deal, I'll give you $1,200. Let's do this for a year. Okay, out of the blue. And so we signed the contract the same day. And then I spent the next 3 months asking her, why did she pay for the software so that I could go build what she was looking for? And that's kind of how we started, is, just people helping connect the dots and willing to rise to the moment and saying, sure, I'll do that. So I just wanted to share that little story.
No, I appreciate that. I'm sure as an entrepreneur, when people say yes to your price so quickly, you're like, oh, curses, I should have.
And so we kept doubling it. So the next person who asked, I said, it's 5,000. They said yes. The next person who asked, I said 25,000. They said yes. So I was like, okay, none of these prices are right. So today we charge cities over $100,000, and now they're like, wait, we have to go to an RFP. And we know now we're at the right price.
All right, so I do have a question from Rosa Marie, and just so you know, David, Karen Small from Fairfax City EDA will connect with you later today. She just had to hop off the call. So Rosa Marie, go ahead.
So thank you. Great presentation, David. It's good to hear from you again. I remember when you were here in person and you were telling us about startup space. So I'm glad to see how you have evolved. You were looking for additional audiences in the DMV. Certainly, I would reach out to Karen. She will be a great resource for you. Every county in Northern Virginia, I say Southern Maryland, but all the DMV Metroplex, every county has an economic development agency. Okay, I'm old. If you open the yellow pages, just kidding, but if you Google Montgomery County EDA, Anne Arundel County EDA, Prince William County EDA, like every county has an EDA, and they would all welcome the help. In addition, if you reach out to George Mason University and their Mason Economic, I forget what the C stands for. I'm so sorry, Giselle.
Center, Mason Enterprise Center.
Thank you. It's the MEC. I just think of it as the MEC. They are a very forward-leaning entity that really can give you some guidance on connecting in the greater DC area with either 3P entities or with pure, local or higher level governmental entities. So I would really recommend, and I know Jen can connect you with Giselle Stoltz, who's the director of that MEC. I also would recommend that you talk to the SBDCs. So the small business development, I'm going to say councils, because again, I can never remember what letter C stands for. They will also be really, really great opportunities for you because a lot of them are connected to local universities. They do get federal funding through the Small Business Administration, and they work with exactly the people that you want to help. So I'll put those 3 ideas into the chat, but good luck.
Thank you. And if you all know anybody in those organizations, I would love an email introduction. The entirety of our business is primarily through referrals. So we don't do AdWords. We don't do any marketing at all. We've grown organically from day one because the economic development community is very close-knit and they are always trying to learn from each other. So they love best practices. They love referrals. And every one of our clients came through an existing client referring us to them. So thank you, Rosemary, for that.
So David, I'll throw a new question for the price point, because it's pretty expensive. Do you find, or is it possible for, let's say 4 people or 4 organizations come together in a market? Can they split that cost, or how does that work, right? If you have a community foundation plus an EDA plus a university, is that possible on the platform?
Yeah, let me clarify. So we don't have every client paying us 100,000. We just know that the breadth of the affordability, we still have clients that pay us $8,000. We still have clients that pay $5,000. So we have now a breadth of services and clients can kind of right size based on their geography, based on their scope, based on their funding. Yes, so we work with state governments, and state governments pay us $100,000 or more. Cities pay us about $25,000. So most of the cities on there pay us $25,000. We have community colleges, universities that also do entrepreneurship. They pay us $8,000, $15,000. So it's a sliding scale based on the size of the organization. So yeah, and we do have, for example, in Oklahoma City, Francis Tuttle University, University of Oklahoma, I2E, the incubator there, and the Oklahoma City Chamber came together and are presenting the community as a group because they all felt that they wanted to do something. So they all pitched in. In St. Pete here, we have USF, University of South Florida, the St. Pete Chamber, and the city of St. Pete coming together and all pitching in $5,000 each. And for $15,000, they offer this to the city of St. Pete. So yes, you can mix and match, or you can do different price points, etc. Ultimately, we've never turned a client away for price because sometimes you only get like a $5,000 EDA grant and you really care about your community. right? So we are a very mission-driven company, and every one of our employees can draw a direct line between their work and impact. And so price is not the overriding decision for us.
Okay, that's good. I appreciate the context. We do have a question from Ken. Ken, do you want to unmute? Are you in a place where you can unmute, or do you want me to ask the question for you? Ken Portnoy.
It depends on how loud the background is. How
So far, so
does
good.
it sound? Okay, so my question is, would Deep Pockets successful entrepreneurs be people you would be interested in, who they might be able to provide funding for locations that are close to their heart, but locations that don't have the funding that you need to support entrepreneurs in those locations? And then the secondary question is there a foundation that they could feed money into so that you could provide those funds to deserving locales that didn't have the scratch needed to support you?
Yep. So great question, Ken. And I'll say that we've been approached a few times by entrepreneurs who want to do this on their own. And what we do is we actually pair them with the local foundations, because that idea, if you remember, I said, who's an ideal client, who has both the funding and the mandate. One without the other is not very effective, because you can have the funding, but if you don't have the mandate, you won't create the buy-in. And if you don't have the buy-in, that community will never take off. So I think what you said, Ken, that the extension of that idea is exactly the solution. So then we pair them with the community foundation or a local university. So in every case, you want to pair them with the boots on the ground. Otherwise, the platform will never take off. And so we found places where people have money. Like, for example, during COVID, a lot of cities had money, but they had no mandate and they had no actual reason to do this work. So they'd give us the money, and then the platform would be dormant. And so now we've gotten to the point where if somebody gives us money, we'll still stop them and say, okay, you have the money, let's pair you with somebody who has the need in the community. And then you can actually, because they will provide the boots on the ground, they'll provide the community forum, they'll provide the front door access to the community, which is all what you need to ultimately get the ROI on the money. But yeah, Ken, I think, in a lot of cases, that's how our philanthropy organizations work. So for example, in Grand Rapids, Kellogg funded somebody that had the mandate on our behalf, so that middle entity became the fiscal agent. And we actually deploy in Grand Rapids on behalf of Kellogg through the fiscal agent.
Perfect. So just a quick reminder, I want to make sure we get through all the questions, and the background and context is really helpful, David, but let's make sure we keep the answers concise as well. Reggie, go ahead. And Reggie, if you can't, there we go. Go ahead.
Yes. Great job, David, with the presentation. My question was, I agree with Rosemarie as far as contacting the different agencies. I wonder if this has some value. Like, I guess I wanted to know if you do any type of reporting that would be of value to these communities, aside from what you report in the tool itself. If you can rely on like historical information or do projections of impacts in the future, and if that might be another vehicle for people to at least get interested in the product, if they don't necessarily have the funding and mandate right now, but you could show sort of what things might look like in the future, and that might entice people to get interested in the product.
Yeah, great point, Reggie. And that's exactly the point, is that when we measure success, we measure success not by how many our clients, at least for our clients, their success is not by the implementation of the platform, but how they are able to get repeat funding into their ecosystem. Ultimately, if they have no funding, they don't have a way to support this. So in every case, our clients have been able to double or triple their funding after using our platform. And for potential clients, we actually have boilerplate language that shows them what impact they will see in their communities if they brought on a solution like this. And ultimately, we are in the data game. That's why market research is a core product of ours. If you can't measure, you can't tell the story.
So David, quick clarifying question, and then we'll go to Lisa. Do small businesses pay to be on the platform? Is that also important to be able to get access for market research? So do you have a lot of small businesses using the platform in those markets?
So yes, but it's only paid by one entity in every city. It's free for everybody else. There are a lot of other personas in a city, small businesses, investors, technical assistance providers, SBDC, SCORE, mentors. So there are like 15 different personas in every city. The only persona that pays is a contract holder. It's free for everyone. And yes, in every city, for example, we just finished a study for Michigan. We had over 1,000 small businesses respond to their technical assistance survey, which is going to feed their SSBCI 2.0 project.
Awesome. Thank you for that clarification. Lisa, please. Oh, hold on, you're muted, Lisa.
Sorry about that. My question is whether you have worked with organizations like Casa Maryland, who are really walking right with the audiences of small businesses and immigrant entrepreneurs that you want to work with. So that would be more directly community organizing groups like Faith in Action and groups like that who, you know, they have the ability to accept large grants. They often have the funding, and you would be the tool that they use to make a project like that they have in mind happen. Have you done that in other places?
Yes, in a lot of cities, our clients eventually, so even though the funding might come from a community foundation or from philanthropy or from the state, we work with immigrant and other minority communities in every city. So in every city we're in, our clients look a lot like, underrepresented community organizers. So yes, we don't work with them in Virginia, so we'd love an introduction, but yes.
Okay, I will.
Yeah,
I will look at my Rolodex and see which groups might be a good match. And I saw Jen Dalton, who knows everybody, can also connect you. But I just want to say what you're doing is after my heart. I'm a web designer, and I recently presented about how it shouldn't cost $1,500 to get a website for a small business that's just starting. That like we can do better, and so I love seeing this happen on such a bigger scale. It's awesome. And I want to know more about your platform.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. I'll have Jody put some information about our platform in the chat.
Thanks.
Rosemary.
So David, I was also thinking a lot of your focus is on city entities, city-based entities, but there are a lot of state-run, I think of them as 3P, public-private partnerships, but some of them are university government kind of partnerships. Here in the DC area, TEDCO really jumps to my mind. They do an awful lot of work sponsoring competitions, conferences, supporting all sorts of entrepreneurial ventures. And there's way more money that's easily available that comes through those state level PPP entities. Plus, it's their mandate to help to do the thing that you're talking about. And many of them, part of their mandate is especially to support underserved communities. So I think talking to the folks at TEDCO is a really good idea. I keep forgetting the new name for CIT, which is the Virginia version. So I feel really bad about that because they were just, thank you. And I'm sure they're all over the country. I would also recommend, you talked about some private foundations. Have you reached out to Revolution Rise of the Rest? Because their specific goal is to support entrepreneurship through actual investments for underserved communities in underserved regions of the country. So they really don't put money in Silicon Valley, Silicon Alley, Silicon Beach. Nobody who's in a big, like a tightly packed zip code, they don't talk to those people, but they actually talk to people in the rest of the country. And even if they're not a client, they're a great partner. So you might want to reach out to them as well.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for all of that. Regarding that state strategy, what we're doing today is we're working from the ground up, because for states, they always want proof that it's working in cities before they're willing to invest. We've got 8 states where we have statewide networks today. So for example, Michigan, we have about 15 hubs that are funded through the state. In Iowa, we've got 5 hubs funded through the state. In Mississippi, so we've got states where we've been able to make it to the top, but you always have to start and prove that it's working at the city level for the state folks to be interested in speaking with you. And in a lot of states, we have for TEDCO, CIT, we know all the folks there. So we've been constantly in conversations with them. They always say, show us proof on the ground. And that takes work and time and effort to build those relationships, right? But we appreciate that, because the state is afraid that if they give you the money, the implementation will not happen because you're not able to create local buy-in. So they have the mandate and the funding, but they're worried about the implementation. So we have to prove that we have at least 3 or 4 cities in a state, and then we get access to the state folks, and we'll go through like an RFP or something to be able to work with them.
Do you feel like you've got enough traction now from other states that you can start with the states where you don't yet have a local footprint, so that you can mirror your success in Michigan, let's say in Iowa or Idaho, where they are actually putting money into local work efforts from the state, but because the population is so much more dispersed that it's a little harder for them?
Yeah, so Iowa actually talked to Michigan and became a client of ours after they spoke with Michigan. So we have Iowa as IEDA is a client of ours. Also in Idaho, we work with Boise, Idaho, with the Community Navigator winner, Women's Business Center there. So we're making inroads, but it's so hard. And this work is, being an entrepreneur every single day, it's hard. Like you got to wake up and do it every day all over again. It's never, there's never enough proof of your success.
So a quick question from Ken Portnoy, which I'll ask for him because the background noise is pretty big. What is the biggest challenge for you right now that's facing your business? I know your challenge question was about additional audiences. So is it about awareness, or what is the biggest challenge right now that you face?
The biggest challenge we face right now is, if you've read this book, it's called Crossing the Chasm. I don't know if any of you have read that book. Yeah, a great book to read. There are these chasms at every point. So we're at the inflection point between 1 million and 10 million. And that chasm is just as hard as every other chasm, like, MVP or getting your first customer. So we're there, which is a combination of bringing great talent in, nurturing that talent, helping retain clients while getting into this growth trajectory of continuing to grow. So we're facing that small business trying to become a medium-sized business challenge, or even within small business, just trying to go from a micro to a small business. And a lot of that is just, again, like hard work every day, hiring the right talent, creating the right focus for their work, creating clarity on the messaging, being able to retain your clients, create enough proof points so that you can find other clients, etc. That's our biggest challenge today, is how do you continue to grow your business and continue to create all those processes. And so, yeah, if any of you are in that phase, it'll make sense to you, continuously trying to grow your business. At every phase, there are different challenges. So we're in that chasm of now getting to the next stage of growth for us.
Do you have an advisory board or a board?
So we had an advisory board of people from the leading agencies across the country. We disbanded that to go to a different advisory board model, where now we're actually working on like a product advisory board, a customer advisory board, and then like a corporate advisory board. Our long-term vision is to turn into a C Corp, which we're turning into this year. And then once we hit about 5 million, to actually bring in an investor, because we think that will be the sweet spot for us to be able to control our own narrative. And so everything in the next 18 months is to kind of get to the place to be investment ready. So, making sure that we have a clear value proposition, we're able to talk about what growth looks like, et cetera. And that's why putting a lot of those building blocks in place.
Okay, Justin, I see you have your hand raised.
Yeah, I just had a question. Have you thought about clarifying your value statement a little bit more? After hearing your presentation, it became clear to me exactly what you do, but when I look at the language, it's a bit jargony. And maybe that's coming from like a corporate background. I don't necessarily have that background, so I'm a little bit confused by, we're referencing economic development, impact to me. So that was just a question that I had for you.
Yeah, so our messaging actually is very different than the 1 Million Cups presentation. So I had to put this together for 1 Million Cups. But when we speak to our audience, we have 5 different types of audiences, and we speak directly to their pain points. So if you are an EDA person, I would skip to, because I know your challenge and I know what your community is like. The value proposition should be directly one-on-one. But I get your point, right? Like, you can't scale the one-to-one. You need to have a value proposition that's clear. So what I would ask, Justin, is if you don't mind, I'll put our website in the chat. And if you could tell us if our website has a clearer value proposition, because that's the one that we're trying to reach the larger audience with. The 1 Million Cups, I try to have enough information in there to spur discussion. So it's a lot of just copy paste to say, okay, is this deck enough for us to now have a conversation? Not necessarily like present to you as if you're my customer, but the website and et cetera. But your point is really well taken.
So I can chime in with an opinion on the website. I would recommend considering adding a page that says, I am a, or something like that, and have drop down boxes with, I'm an entrepreneur. What do I do? I'm a economic development authority. What do I do? But those 5 audiences, it's very confusing when you come to your site. It's not clear who you're helping and what is that ecosystem? So if you have your own ecosystem map, like what is the domino effect or viral strategy behind making this work? So I think some case studies that are more visual and easier to find, and some pages specifically for those strategic partners, community foundation, right, et cetera. So with that, I know we have about 9 minutes left. If you have any other thoughts or ideas, please drop them in chat. I'm sure, Lisa, you have thoughts about the website and others also. The conversation has been fantastic. I'm going to ask Lisa to go ahead and go to, or Leslie to go ahead and go to the next slide. Oh, I don't see, there we go. So for many of you, you may know, Fairfax County Economic Development Authority has been a huge champion for us, and they come to all of our meetings. One of their interns from Dartmouth, Tyron Herring, is graduating from his internship today. He has his capstone, and then he's been coming to every meeting, but he is busy presenting this morning to the leadership team at Fairfax County Economic Development Authority. So please send him a note in LinkedIn or connect with him on LinkedIn. I'm sure he would love to work for a company, wink, wink, who might be trying to hire people, David. So go check it out. Go say hey to him and say congrats, because it's awesome to have students who are interested in entrepreneurship and supporting the economy locally through business. So please say congrats to Tyron. He would really appreciate that. And he'll probably be like, who are these people congratulating me? But that would be much appreciated. And next slide, we have a presenter next week, Cherry Hill Platform. Please, join us every bat channel here Wednesday mornings. We're excited to have Cherry Hill present. We'll send out more information about them next week as well. We do have a lot of openings. So for folks who know entrepreneurs, startups, businesses who want to present, please spread the word. Let people know they can apply at 1millioncups.com/Fairfax County, and we will be happy to guide them through this. David was very easy and self-sufficient. We actually did not have to guide him very much at all. But for most of our entrepreneurs, one of our organizers will partner with you to help make sure you're ready for this meeting and you get the most out of the meeting. There are a lot of upcoming events. If you look towards the bottom, if you have events you want to add, please drop them in chat, or if you want to speak to them now, you can. I know Gresham has lots of events going on, and so does Reggie. But feel free to put them in chat, or if you want to raise your hand and talk about them, that would be great. No, nobody's going to any events. I'm just kidding. I know we all are. If you have other events you're interested in, please drop it in chat and make sure we'll present and add it to our list every Wednesday. Yes, a shameless plug for becoming an organizer. We do divide and conquer. Many hands make light work. So if you're interested and even dipping your toe in the water, even all the way from Tampa, you can do that to become an organizer. We're happy to help bring people on. It's a great way to add value. And as John Foster said, it's a great midweek energy boost. So thank you, John, for that plug as well. If you want to be a brand ambassador, that just means you spread the word as well in a very intentional way. So we appreciate everybody coming today. I'm going to ask our final question to David before we wrap up. David, is there anything else we can do to support you as the 1 Million Cups community?
Well, it's already been such a pleasure talking to you all, and love all the feedback. We're a massive work in progress. So great to connect with you. I'm hoping I'll be able to someday present back in person. That would be a great way to kind of come back and revisit. But yeah, thank you so much for your time. If you all have anybody that you think could be somebody we could work with, or somebody that could use us, or somebody who could even like mentor us and give us feedback, please connect us with them. I put my email address in there. We can use all the help you can give us. So thank you so much in advance for your help.
Absolutely. And David did put his email in chat. If you do want to reach out, please drop your information in chat as well, or connect with him on LinkedIn. He has 10,000 plus followers and also does a great podcast. So go check that out. Love to see everybody back here again next week. Thank you again for attending. Thank you for the fantastic questions and dialogue. And we'll get you the recording too. This is also going to be on Facebook once we turn on Facebook Live. Feel free to share today's recording out. That would be a great way to spread the word. Share it to your personal and even to your business page. You can do that also from LinkedIn as well. So thank you again, everybody, for joining. I'm going to turn off Facebook Live. Great seeing everybody. Thank you again to the Kauffman Foundation, who is behind the 1 Million Cups. We really appreciate it. So thank you.